Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be showing you how I prep for the work week on Sunday evening. So the first thing I do is look at my time and day specific tasks that I need to accomplish that week. So usually I pull up my Google Calendar and I either write it out in something like this where I can go ahead and put in all of the tasks that I know I have to do this week, or I just look at the calendar and use that to directly populate my bullet journal. This week I'm going to go ahead and write all of my time and day specific tasks here. This is a weekly notepad. It's very thick cardboard paper with some rose gold foiling, and I picked this up at Anthropology a few months ago. So this is ideally how I'd like to see my week. A lot of my timed things are happening Tuesday through Thursday. On Monday, I try to dedicate that time to tasks that require intensive focus or flow. So things like writing tasks, or I'm also learning a new skill that I need for my job, and I do that in an online class on Monday afternoons. So I try to keep my Mondays free all day so that I can do those intensive focus tasks. And on Friday, especially in the afternoon, is where I get all of my review of the week and prep for next week done. So I try to make sure that I don't overcommit myself on Mondays and Fridays. I really try to focus all of the meetings with other people and those types of tasks from Monday through Thursday. And then since I'm just planning my work week, I really just ignore the weekend and the evening time as well. So usually this year I have set up a master to-do list having to do with all the outstanding tasks from the prior week that I migrate over into this week. And I really just do a long running list. In the past, I've done any of my time or date specific tasks or meetings in a separate journal, specifically in my B6 Jibun Techo, and I keep that in my personal traveler's notebook. But this week I'm going to try to do something a little bit different, and I'm going to set the page up so that down the middle of the page I have the work days, and I also have time and day specific meetings and tasks kind of in two columns over here. Then I'm going to have my weekly to-do list that runs across this side of the page and also continues on into the second page if needed, and then set this side of the page up for tasks that I know will not be accomplished this week, but I don't want them to fall off of my to-do list, given that I have a running to-do list that I just migrate over from week to week to week. I'm gonna go ahead and set that up, and then I will explain my migration process. So I've gone ahead and set up my weekly spread. So up here I have a little calendar of things of the month of February, including the week prior to the current week, which is going to be the week of February 5th. I have all of the tasks so I can migrate all the tasks that I would like to or could possibly complete in this week. Then I have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, things to be scheduled. I was a little irritated because I wanted them to line up and I clearly went over the line here, so they're not exactly lined up. And then here are a list of tasks that I know that I'm not going to get to this week. So I just wrote not this week because I'm not sure if I'm going to get to them, say next week or even the week after that, but I do want to continue migrating them over and over again, just continuously repeating and deciding whether or not I want to still have that as a to-do list on my task list. So my migration process is the following. When I have a square, if I've accomplished the task, I will go ahead and blank it out, such as you see here. If I go ahead and forward it over to another list, which is what I'll be doing for most of these open squares, I will write an arrow in that square to know that I did not accomplish that task this week, but I moved it to a week in the future. If I know that I'm not going to do it for quite some time, and I'm probably going to have to schedule a time in the future to do that, I use a backwards arrow saying that I've scheduled it for a specific time in the future. If I do an X within the box, that means that I'm no longer going to do that task. I've just made a conscious decision to not do that. When I have a triangle, those are questions. Once I have asked the individual the question and I've received an answer, usually I write the answer somewhere on the same line. Then I'll go ahead and color in that triangle. If I have open triangles, I group them together by the person that I have to ask the question to, and I'll have a little subsection for that week that has, when I speak to that person, here are the questions that I have to ask them. So I'm going to go through and do that for last week and move those tasks over to this week. So here is one of the beauties of this system, and really just systematically going through it one by one. Here I have pick up a specific request form. So I've already picked up that request form and filled it out. So now I have to send that request form to someone else. So this has reminded me that I picked up the form. It also jogged my memory that I did fill out the form, and now the next action step that I have to do is submit that form. So when I go to this week's list, I have X'd that out, or I've blacked it out because I've completed picking up the form, and now I have a new action item related to that, which is deliver that form. As I'm continuing to write things in for the week, I also have an opportunity to spread things out. In this column, if I don't think I'm going to get to that to-do until sometime in the future, I write them into this column. But if I feel like I could accomplish one of these tasks on a specific day, I go ahead and write that on a specific day as well, or if I'm going to try to do that on that day. So one of the things that has been lingering is clearing out old emails because my work inbox is almost at capacity. That is a perfect task for Friday when I'm trying to clean up after the end of the week and prep for the following week. So I'm going to go ahead and note that down on Friday at the bottom, so I'll keep my time-specific tasks at the top, and you'll see me write that in a little bit. But I'm also going to write tasks that I could potentially get done on a specific day at the bottom of that section for that day. So as you can see in the bottom here, I've left some open squares, and that's because those are things that I'm going to try to do today before I start work tomorrow on Monday. So there are things like creating specific project pages, which are things that I have to do kind of for bullet journal upkeep that I'm gonna go ahead and do after I'm done setting up for the week. I've already gone through the to-dos that I started off at the beginning of the week saying that I wanted to do, and then I'm going to go through and look at my individual days. So as things come up on each day, I also add to-dos here, and if I don't finish the to-dos, so you'll see here I had slides that I wanted to prep on Monday. I didn't finish those, and then you'll see the same thing appear here on Tuesday. But if you're paying close attention to this weekly list, you'll see that I did complete those slides right here. So I'm going to go ahead and look through each individual day and make sure that I'm not losing track of any of the tasks that I added on individual days of the week. Now that I've migrated all of the open to-dos or tasks bullets that I have, I'm going to go ahead and fill in the time and date specific meetings or appointments that I have. And in this little upcoming section, I'd like to put things that are on the horizon for next week. So sometimes I don't want something to sneak up on me. So if I have something due on Monday or Tuesday of next week, it's probably not on my to-do list just yet, but I want to make sure that I have that up here in case I want to get a jump start or a head start on doing that for the next week. So I just looked at my calendar and there's nothing that's going on next week except that we're going to have some visitors from a different job site that's going to come to our site. So I want to go ahead and write that down, and then I'm going to go ahead and put in the appointments that I have for the week. So that's about it for my weekly setup. This is usually the time that I look at my task list and I see what I'm going to focus on for Monday, because I do have a concentrated 4-hour block of time where I try to do something that'll take up more time than usual that I would have when I have lots of other appointments or it needs to be interrupted. So I'm going to go ahead and choose 1 or 2 things to focus on Monday where I can give a dedicated block of time to, and I'm also going to go ahead and fill in all of the additional project pages or do all of the bullet journal maintenance that I have noted throughout the week in the journal. So I've gone ahead and picked out my focus for Monday, and as I said, I kind of leave it open so I have huge chunks of time to accomplish some of those bigger boulders that are on my task list. And that's about it. That's what I do every week to set up my bullet journal for the following week to prep for the upcoming work week, and just to make sure that I don't lose anything in the shuffle. Until next time, I hope this video brought you some utility and joy.